Hello everyone and welcome to a day of e-learning. We have yet to have 5 days together in person, but the show must go on. So right now we're still doing topic 3. If you already got the notes down, that's great. If you didn't, or if you're in the co-taught class and your notebook is in the classroom, that's okay. We'll go through the notes again later, but I do need to go through them now because we have to have a way of taking attendance, and that's going to be through this Google form that I will go through later once I get through my spiel here. So we just got done talking about DNA replication, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's just when DNA copies itself. We talked about semi-conservative, and the reason that DNA copies itself is because all cells need instructions before they can divide. So basically it's like, before we do a lab, I have to give you the procedure. It's kind of like that. Now, the second part of this is mitosis, and mitosis is when your cells actually divide. So now we have the instructions, and now our cells are going to divide. So there's reasons why our cells do this. Number one is reproduction. A lot of single-cell organisms like bacteria do this, and it's mainly because they're a single cell. They don't really have much complexities to them like we do, and basically all their cells do is just their single cell just keeps dividing over and over and over again. That's what's being pictured here. So like pretend like this is a bacteria, DNA is copied, splits again. And that's why bacteria multiply so quickly, is they aren't complex. It's really not that challenging. But this one, for growth, this is definitely going to apply to us. So obviously most of you are still growing, okay? And organisms grow when their cells divide. Duh. And this happened to all of us while we were growing in our mom's uterus, right? We obviously started out as one cell, but over time that one cell started to divide into 2 cells, and then those 2 cells divided to 4 cells, and so on and so forth. And then our cells started to become different types of cells. We started at blood cells, brain cells, liver cells, skin cells, bone cells. And this all started because of mitosis. Repair is also another thing. If you've ever broken a bone, or if you've ever gotten a cut or a bruise, your cells have to repair themselves. So they divide to replace old and damaged cells. And then here's a picture here of a broken bone. If you've ever broken a bone, this is what's happening in your body, or what happened in your body. Your bone cells started to divide to make new ones to heal that broken bone, obviously with the support of a cast as well. So some injuries do need support. Your cells just can't divide for fun. And then finally, surface area. So this is just saying our cells have gotten too big for the amount of stuff that's within them. It's called the surface area to volume ratio. And basically the surface area here is pictured by this blue cube, and the volume is pictured by the purple circle. Okay? Now, pretend like this is a part of your cell. The reason why our cells have to divide here is parts of your cells need different nutrients in order to do different functions. And if your cell is too big, those nutrients can't get where they need to go in a timely manner. So your cells divide for that reason. And there is a video linked here that goes into more detail, and you can skip to 457. The guy does a really good job of explaining that in more detail than I can with the time limit that I have here. Okay, so now we're on the stages of mitosis, and this looks scarier than it actually is, so just bear with me for a second. Mitosis is the process where one cell divides to make 2 new cells. Okay? Before this happens, our DNA is replicated. The fancy word for that is called interphase. So interphase is before mitosis, and that is when DNA is replicated. So that was the first part of this topic, slides 14 and 15, okay? That's when we talked about the different proteins involved in that and all that good stuff. But now we're going to get to the stages of mitosis, okay? So if we look at interphase, we can see just a regular cell, some DNA is chilling in the middle here, and then DNA is copied, and now we're on this stage called prophase. So if you look at the dark blue chromosome and the light blue chromosome, you can see now there's a pair instead of just one. and there's a pair instead of just one. So our DNA has been copied and the chromosomes are paired up. And what happens is our chromatin, that's less wound up DNA, gets wrapped up into chromosomes. Makes sense, right? We got to pack up all the stuff, and the more efficiently we can do that before the cells split, that's what we're going to do. Now, something called the nucleolus, it's where ribosomes are made, disappears to make more room for division. And it sounds a lot like nucleus, so it is near the nucleus, okay? Don't get too hung up on that. I just wanted you to be able to see in the picture that the nucleolus is this purple dot, and it's gone in the other stages until the very end. So it has disappeared during prophase. Then once we get the metaphase, think metaphase, middle. So the chromosomes line up in the middle of our cell, okay? And that's why it says chromosomes line up at the equator. Basically, middle of the cell, middle of the circle, so to speak, okay? Really all that happens here, and that's called the metaphase plate. Then in anaphase, remember how we said that those chromosomes were in pairs? Well, now those pairs start to get split up, sad face. And they start to get pulled to opposite sides of the cell. And that's a good thing because eventually the split is going to happen down the middle here. So it's good that we've got our chromosomes on separate sides. Okay? And then in telophase, the chromosomes begin to relax and unwind into chromatin, so less wound up DNA. And the nucleolus, okay, begins to reform. And then once we get to our last phase called cytokinesis, cyto literally means cell. Kinesis is like a new, okay? So this is literally saying new cells. And that's exactly what happens. This is when one cell physically splits into two cells. So if you can see in telophase, we're almost there, but in cytokinesis, we're finally two separate cells. And it looks exactly the same as what we first started with. Okay? So for today, there will be a Google form posted, and that is going to be how attendance is taken. Okay, so your goal is to watch this video and then to answer the questions on that Google form, and then you will be marked present today. Happy e-learning and stay safe out there, y'all.